got stories, the things that we like about the business, the things that we would change about the business. You hear so many times that on the road, people are booking the territory. So a lot of the stuff is just us kind of wanting to see what we can do to better the business. And
podcast host, owner of the Reno Wrestle Factory, the 7-foot Paul Isadora, joins the show for a focus feature. He talks the Going Over podcast and the upcoming RWF show.
All right. Big Paul. So I feel like we can't really start too much about this interview without first touching on how Winter's Wrath ended with the knockout finish in the Nevada State Championship. So if you could just go ahead and give us a status update on Cade Adams.
Oh, I mean, from what I understand, the last thing I heard from him is, going through a concussion protocol and seeing if he's going to have an opportunity to compete at Luck of the Brawl. So still waiting to kind of hear about that. I know we're a couple weeks away. So.
All right, and obviously we're seeing right here how it went down. You can kind of see a little bit Cade's kind of fighting himself on some of the heel tactics he had been using lately, trying to decide whether or not he wanted to go that route, and then obviously the heavy elbow strikes and then a knockout finish there. So hopefully we'll see Cade in a couple weeks. If not, we obviously know why. It's the wrestling business here, and we'll hope for the best for Cade as we move forward. But speaking of Luck of the Brawl, let's go ahead and we'll look at the card that we've got set up here. Well, let's just start with this one first. Is this going to end up being a tag team title match?
This will be a title match, though. So the Dilf's kind of been using the Freebird rule, essentially. You've had Frankly Gorgeous and Corey Dayton won the titles, but they've kind of invited Jeffrey Excellence into the mix as he is a brand new father. So that I feel like they're trying to mold him into that the Dilf's way of life. Him being a new dad. So they're kind of rotating here. So this time it's going to be Frankly Gorgeous and Jeffrey Excellence defending those titles against the Dudes. And the Dudes are tag team champions in Pro Championship Wrestling up in the Orville, Red Bluff area that they run up there.
All right, and then next we'll hop to this one, and this looks like a matchup of two big hosses right here, two big boys.
Exactly, big hoss fight here. You got Bad News Blakesley, who's been coming in kind of a crowd favorite. Making pretty easy work of the guys that he's been in the ring with recently, and Drake Frost is just one of those guys, man. He just brings the fight every night. So I've been in the ring with him numerous times, and he always takes me to the limit. So I think this is going to be an awesome matchup. Just great to see. Everybody's going to get to see two big guys just slugging it out.
And then I think, and then next we've got obviously the biggest fan favorite going right now, I think, in the Reno Sparks area, Jerry Gigolo, taking on a dude I found very highly entertaining, and a guy though that took on Blakesley.
And I would argue that maybe Sergio Santana may be able to take the moniker of the most hated. Like I don't know, man. He came out there and just his attitude, and like he thought he was nothing better than him. He wants to introduce himself, wants to tell you how great he is. So I can just see this being like the ultimate good guy versus the ultimate bad guy. So I think this is going to be a fun one to watch as well.
And then another tag team here. I know that we've seen three of these guys in varying forms over the last couple shows.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the Unwanted, I think, has been formed out of a team of just kind of misfits. You know, they're the guys that nobody else wants to team with. Kind of, I think unwanted kind of says it all about the way that they feel. Right, they feel kind of discarded and things like that. And in Buck and Bay, those guys are up and coming guys. They train out of Primetime University. I've seen a couple matches with them. They're just. I feel like they're just trying to get their feet wet and get established in the tag team division. So, this one should be an interesting one as well. A lot of experience against a couple of newcomers. So we'll kind of see what they bring to the table, Buck and Bay, come luck of the Brawl.
And then one more here is your co-host partner taking on a guy who's both of them are kind of coming in pretty red hot into this one. Nice, solid streaks going on here.
Absolutely.
At the Wrestle Factory. So this one
and this is very much like student versus teacher. These two guys went to a time limit draw at one of the events in Pro Championship Wrestling, and many people think that that Dickie Dakin probably, if there was 5 more minutes in that match, the census is that he would have probably beaten Mr. Primetime in that match. So this is going to be another opportunity for him to prove himself. Dickie Dakin's been on a little bit of a hot streak here. So, but again, like I said, teacher versus student. So, you always say, I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know. You got to think that Primetime's got a few tricks up his sleeve, things that he has just learned from experience, and Dickie's just not gonna might not be ready for some of those things. So he's definitely got to come with his A game that night.
And welcome to Going Over. I'm Zach Primetime Reeb, your local neighborhood coach, friendly trainer, promoter, and I'm joined alongside the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, this is it. This is the first one.
So just talk to me. There it is right there. Obviously, so not only are you running RWF, you got this Going Over podcast, which is picking up nice momentum. So just go ahead and talk to us a little bit about the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a thing that's probably been like a year in the making. I feel like Zach and I have always been talking on the phone, and just we've got stories, the things that we like about the business, the things that we would change about the business. You hear so many times that on the road people are booking the territory. So a lot of the stuff is just us kind of wanting to see what we can do to better the business, and this is kind of the way that we decided we're going to try to help the younger guys in the business, the guys that maybe are a little bit more experienced, but need a little bit of polish. So this is kind of our way, man. We do an hour twice a week, and it's all really in an effort to try to help the business get better. So using our experience to try to help some other guys, and I feel like throughout the episodes that we've had some guests that I learned from. So it's a really cool experience, and I'm really glad that we just jumped in and decided to start doing it. So really excited about that, and we've got a lot of good feedback from other people that hey, I've been listening to the episodes, and I've been learning some stuff, and a lot of real positive stuff. So we're really excited about the podcast, and we just want to keep it rolling, and hopefully it really makes some good changes in the wrestling business, at least in our independent wrestling here on the West Coast.
So obviously you talked about learning, so I want to we'll run this clip real quick here that I also liked from Zach.
Start to go, hey, why am I not at a different level in this, in this career path of mine? Because I've trained so many guys that once I said, hey, you're good to go, man. You're good to go. Time to get you on the show, which we're going to touch on a little later about when somebody should start and how they should start. But they get in there and then they just quit training. I got guys that have been in the business that I've trained 15 to 17 years now, who for 15 to 17 years, I've kept my doors open, and I've offered them saying, hey man, get back in here and train. Get back. Oh, I don't want to take the bumps. You don't have to take the bumps. Let's just work on the movement. Let's get your pacing around the ring, your ring positioning. Let's go over things and repetition. So when you say when did I stop training and when did I stop learning? I don't know. You're gonna have to ask somebody else when they stop learning, because I continue to learn. I learned so much from your show last weekend.
So right there, obviously, to this day, it's like, and you guys have both been doing this for 20 plus years, and right there, it's like Zach just said it himself. It's like you keep learning, and I feel like that obviously is a big thing. You want to learn something new every single day, right? That's what they always say. So I think I'm picking up stuff just in the things that I've been doing, covering you guys as well. So
Absolutely. Well, and that's kind of the goal, man. That's what we want to do. We want to try to help people learn. We want to learn ourselves. We're constantly trying to get better, and hopefully that's kind of what's coming off when we talk about the podcast. Is it's not just we're trying to tell people that we know what's going on or anything like that. It's just us sharing our experience, training with other people, trying to just build along the way. And I felt like every time I came back from somewhere where I'm learning from people that knew more than I did, I would always come back and bring that knowledge and try to share it with everybody around. Like at the next couple shows I was at, hey, this is the things I learned. This is maybe what WWE is looking for, or whatever the case may be. So that's really what the effort is all about. Is like, hey, let's try to get better. Let's try to help people learn. Let's try to learn ourselves. It's kind of this big vicious cycle here where everybody, hopefully everyone's helping everyone. That's really the goal.
And I know our relationship kind of started over me trying to just train on the professional end from you guys, and I kind of switched over from one wrestling promotion to you guys because I felt like the training opportunities were going to be a little better. But I also think that I wasn't really cut out for that. And I don't know if he was speaking directly to me, but I just chuckled when you had Adam Thornstowe on the episode, and he kind of had this to say about students.
Zach told me when I first started, if you can't jump up to the second rope and do a half turn and jump off, you probably shouldn't wrestle. Like, you're not athletic enough for it. I'm not discouraging it. That stuck with me since the work farm in 2001. Later on, when I started helping train people, I was like, yeah, we shouldn't be taking this guy's money, you guys. Maybe a manager, maybe a referee. Maybe he's got some sort of, I don't know, computer degree. You know what I mean? That like do something. Not everyone can do this, and it sucks, right? Because you grow up loving it and you want to be Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12 like me, and I'm sure Zach, you know what I mean? Like that boyhood dream thing. But not everyone can do it.
So I don't know, again, if he was talking directly to me. I just know in some of the training things that I went through, I struggled with some of the athletic stuff. I know that when we attempted to try to do some top rope stuff, I couldn't get my leg from stopping shaking, and so we kind of aborted on the top rope stuff at that point. But then I know I was also talking to Corey. I mentioned Adam's clip on that. It's like Corey complimented me on a little bit of mine and Todd's training, saying that me and Todd weren't the worst you guys had seen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's just that thing, right? I've told our students that we've had hundreds of people come through, right? And there's probably only, a dozen or, somewhere around that have gotten to the point where they've worked, probably more than 10 matches. Right? So that's kind of where the measuring stick is, right? You go, how many people have come through saying, this is my dream to be a pro wrestler, versus how many people have kind of made it to the point where they're doing it on a regular basis. So that's kind of what Adam's talking about with not everyone is meant for this, right? So it's a lot of people come in thinking they're going to be landing on a trampoline, they're going to be bouncing off rubber band ropes and things like that. It's you see it on TV, and you think, oh, it's all fake or whatever, right? And then you get in there and you start taking bumps and you start hitting the ropes, and next thing you know, your ribs are bruised from hitting the ropes, and the front of your neck is hurting from trying to tuck your chin so you don't knock yourself out every time you take a bump. So I think you get to the stage where you either go, man, I love this, I'm going to keep doing it, or you go, man, this just isn't for me. I thought this is what I wanted, but I don't. But Adam had a good point there, right? There is the opportunity to be a manager. You can be a commentator, ring announcer. You can do production. Uh, you know, be somewhere in the advertising space, right? There's so many different opportunities in the wrestling business that you can fit into, right? Whether you're in, you could be graphic designer or things like that. So always looking for those type of things, and realistically, all of those extra things are another way to kind of get your foot in the door if you are a pro wrestler. Like, hey, I'm a pro wrestler, but I can also make flyers for you, or I can edit your film, or whatever it is. Like, there's always these little things that you can kind of add into the mix where it makes you more valuable. And two guys of the same skill level, somebody can do something extra. The promoter's generally going to use the person that can do something extra because they don't want to have to do as much. So that's perfect.
I forgot about this mentioning it beforehand, but obviously you could arguably say your best student is Carl Frederick, currently known as Eddie Thorpe in NXT. So just talk to me a little bit about what it was like training, and kind of did you feel Carl kind of had that in him to get to the stage that he's at right now?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, he was an athlete, right? So he was a high school football, basketball player. I don't know if he ran track, but he's just an athlete. But really the best thing about Carl is that when he came in, he already had his whole game plan laid out, right? He was going to go to the Lance Storm Wrestling School, but he was telling us like, well, I can't get in for X number of months or whatever it was. And I really feel like it was over a year that it was going to take him to just get in to the Lance Storm School. So the conversation that we had was, hey, like, train with us until you're going to go to the Lance Storm Wrestling School, and most likely you're probably already going to get onto the radar of WWE. And then Carl's just the guy, right? He's the guy that's in the gym. He's the guy that's eating right, putting hours and hours into the training. So it takes those things, and I always tell people from a coaching aspect, you have either a guy that is super talented and doesn't work that hard. You have somebody who works super hard, isn't super talented, or you have that combination of a guy that is super talented and works extremely hard. And then Carl fits into that category. And it's few and far between to come across a guy like that. So as much as we'd like to say, oh, we trained this guy and we taught him everything he knew, we just got him his start, right? We introduced him to the wrestling business, and then he ended up going to some other places where he could learn and get opportunities, getting his foot in the door a little bit further. So, we definitely can't take all of the credit. It's not going to, like, we're going to post pictures of this guy and go, hey, we took him from top to bottom and he's in NXT as a result of that. He got him started and then he worked his ass off to get where he's at right now, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm a big video game person, and 2K25 is out tomorrow, and he's going to be in it for the very first time on a video game. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to experience an actual match with the real Eddie Thorpe on a game. So that'll be fun. And then, so you're currently working training sessions right now. Is this session, how much longer is this session currently going, the one you got going right now?
Yeah, so this session will go to the end of March. So we generally break it up into 3-month sessions. So first session started at the beginning of January. We'll end at the end of March. We'll start a brand new session at the beginning of April. So we're taking sign for that right now. We like to keep it fairly small, right? Because there's only so much ring time. So we want everyone to get a fair amount of ring time, right? And like I said about how many people come through a wrestling school, there's definitely attrition, right? So we started off hot and heavy, right? We had 15 or 16 students, and then we have the knowledge that all of these people aren't gonna make it for 3 months. So then you get some attrition. Then you have more opportunity for now. These guys have 3 months of training, and then the next group will have start from scratch. But these guys that have a little bit of training will be able to kind of integrate into those. We train 4 times a week, so there's opportunity for us to split up the classes into very novice versus a couple days of guys that have a little bit more training. So, and then obviously you want to integrate them at some point and get everybody to kind of train together. So then kind of the iron sharpens iron type of mentality, where these guys that have a little bit of expertise can match with these guys that have a little bit less. And then with us as well, jumping in the mix, it's all trying to get everybody to the point where they can get into their first wrestling match at some point. Whenever they decide that that's the right time is. Obviously, we'll give them some insight. We'll probably give them their first bookings here at our company, and then and then obviously we're going to try to help them get out there and get bookings at other companies as well.
And obviously, as Zach touched on, and we followed up with it, the guys that are students that are currently going in the first session aren't going to just disappear. It's like they'll just roll over and they'll be a little bit more advanced in some of the stuff that they're doing, because you don't want to just say like, 3 months and now you're good to go, right? Yeah. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So they'll roll over. They'll get into a little bit more advanced stuff. So, but we like to get all the real, put the foundation together when you first start. So build that foundation. That way they've got some stuff to build on, and then the next session will kind of start building the foundation, and you'll try to integrate as we get a little bit further on. So looking forward to that. I posted something just yesterday, and I've already got 2 people that want to sign up. So it's just like it was last time. You get some interest, and then all of a sudden things start pouring in. So that's what we're looking forward to. Hopefully we don't have to push off a whole bunch of people this time to the next session. So that's what we're looking forward to, and hopefully it keeps growing. And then, eventually you'd like to have, 20, 30 students, and that's who does a lot of the marketing for you, and working security, cameras, whatever. You have all the different jobs of people getting some experience in the pro wrestling business. So you can kind of see things from different aspects, whether it's, setting up the entrance, or taking tickets, or being security, or grabbing jackets, taking photos, things, whatever we need people to do. It gives people a little bit of close to the action type of experience, and some responsibilities for those things. Zach and I were just talking about how important it is to be able to set up a ring, right? Walk into any promotion and just jump right in, right? Hey, let me grab this piece, and then boom, you go get that thing set up, and being able to load the trailer and make sure everything's tied down safely, and all of those things, as simplistic and as they sound, all of those things are very important.
Thanks, Paul, for being on the show. And but one last time, real quick, was like we'll hit on the next show we got coming up is Luck of the Brawl on March 22nd. And let's see, and then I'll just throw up what's the main event going to be? Is that
the main event is going to be Travis Alexander versus Surza, and I'm sure that there is a match graphic of them somewhere online. I think I put that up just recently, so
okay.
So there should be all of those matches. I think there's going to be 7 matches total, so should be a really great show, man. It should be exciting. A lot of entertaining things. We always like to have a little bit of everything on those. So, very much like ice cream. Not everyone's going to like every type of match, but hopefully there's something that entertains everyone on the show.
Perfect. All right. Big Paul, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you on the 22nd.
Perfect. Thanks, Dale. Appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your night.